called Practica. St. John's has a lot of words, but needs more actions. In language, we turn words into different words without learning how to speak them or bring them into life. In seminar, we as a class talk, as Aquinas wrote, argument, counter-argument, reply to objection. Next point, please. We read words, then speak words about words to rebut words against words. We describe God, the indescribable, unknowable, with words. But the word is not the reality. It is just the theory. And I wonder, can we turn these words into anything but more words? In math, we use the words to draw representations of circles and triangles, but never once do we draw a true circle or real rectangle. We draw their approximations. The words are transmuted from the paper of the books to chalk dust on the blackboard. It is an elaborate fantasy of the mind carried out before our eyes. Finally, we go to the laboratory, literally a place of labor, and I hoped for manual labor because I wanted to use all of me, not only my eyes and mind. I wanted to see the program not just as thoughts, ideas, and words, but as action, as movement, as life. I was not disappointed. Words off of old pages were to be brought to the table not only as talk, but as things to do. Like Frankenstein and his monster, we applied our hard-won knowledge, pried from the musty page into our brains, and from our brains to the substance around us where it takes on a life of its own. From the papers of yore, we translated word into deed. Galileo's ideas, no longer words, but balls set rolling, a class watching, and me inside, cheering. The ideas of man had been captured on page, but we set them free to learn what he learned so long ago. The proof is in the playing. We thought as he thought, so we might feel as he felt, and wonder at the orderly direction of the universe, the regularity, the rules, the beauty of the world we live in, dare I say, the miracle, so that we might wonder to ourselves, how can I make a paper out of this? If only all of our classes gave Practica. Imagine asking a stranger to hear their story on an airplane or in the hallway or at the cafe. You go for a walk with them for Chaucer's sake and write a paper about their story. You put yourself into their shoes to try and understand them better. Imagine a barefoot symposium when students got drunk and gave impromptu speeches of love. Oh wait, we did that and it was awesome. Inspiring, filled with laughter, if a bit debauched. Imagine questing for 3 days, totally unprepared for the real world, but perfectly prepared for a fantastical one, wandering the streets of Santa Fe, no phone, no common sense, and ready for naught but adventure, as was Don Quixote. Imagine if when we studied the Bible, our homework was to be a good Samaritan, to write a lab report on how we felt to carry the old woman's groceries, or to return that wallet still full of cash, or to jumpstart that van lady's van in the Sprouts parking lot. Imagine forgiving someone you really can't stand all year for your homework. Maybe a political figure, or better yet, someone you see every school day who gets you riled and wild inside and not in a good way, or the tutor who ignores your points in seminars. Imagine picking one of those people, your least favorite person in any of your classes, and every time you get mad at them, every time you wish they were different, you stop and remind yourself, it is my homework this year to forgive them everything. Imagine you do forgive them, and at the end of the year, you write your seminar paper on your new relationship with them. Do you still feel that same rancor, the same impatience as you did to start this experiment? Or has your heart softened to him, and you see that Mr. Losway Macumsey is just doing his best? Imagine if the program wasn't just so many words on pages, but that those words were calls to action. Imagine if every class had Practica. I and many or most or all learn best from hands-on experience. If these truly are the greatest ideas of all time, why don't we try to live them rather than just discuss? Why don't we make it rule here that we are not only students of books, but practitioners of life? So much is lost when we keep only to the words and ideas. Talk is cheap and easy. It is non-committal. How easy to say God exists and do nothing about it. That written commitment is lifeless. Faith without works is dead. The word is not the moon. It is a finger pointing at it, and I am often more amused by the stars and the trees and the blanket of quiet with which the desert embraces me as I look up. But to study the moon by studying Galileo, by carrying out the very experiments he created as a man, a living human being centuries ago, and then to watch mankind confirm his ideas not on paper but by action, to see an astronaut drop both hammer and feather on the moon, for him to call back to Galileo 300 years before and say to him, your experiments on Earth proved true on the moon, is the combination of knowledgeable thought combined with deliberate action. It is the most beautiful of human experiences. It is cooperation through the ages. We can learn from another's experience and, most importantly, apply it to our own. And when we do, the human race for a moment is no longer racing, but cooperating. And we are the human cooperative, a team. A smart person learns from their own mistakes, but the wise one learns from the lessons of others. And so I love the Practica. When I see the ball roll down the ramp and calculates its speeds, I'm no longer in the quagmire of 2020. I am in Galileo's laboratory, studying beside the man who spent years learning lasting lessons that helped to land us on Luna. The words themselves are not the end. They are the means for us to communicate with one another. Life can be described by words, but it cannot be captured by them. We can use that description to make experiments, to make ourselves the experiment. Our life becomes the test. There are no do-overs, only results to learn from. But I can learn from the words of the past by turning them into actions in the present. Those writers and thinkers and philosophers are not, were not, and can't be just words on a page. Those pages are translations of those who used to be real people, who put their life force, their energy, their time, and their love on the page so that those to come, those not born yet, could grow and learn from what they had done and what they had learned. But it is not enough to read it. It must be brought to life. Jesus did not lay out a philosophy. He laid out a course of action. Love thy neighbor. Bring them groceries during COVID. Bring them masks. Text them joke. Forgive them the political signs in their yard. Mow the side of their lawn too. This is what Jesus teaches. Galileo left us experiments not to read but to do. He saw the world around him in a way that we can still see today. A ball that fell then falls now. He told us how it fell, and now we, with a ball made of modern plastic or timeless stone, can relive the same wonder and awe that he must have felt as he and his two friends played with the craftspersons. They are not just scientists, just knowers, but players on the stage of the world, children in the eyes of God, playing, wondering, marveling with eyes open and minds curious, hearts open to the beauty, the consistency, the regularity, the miracle, the power of the universe of which they are a part. They are not characters in a book. They are you and me, and when we do their experiments, we are them. The science practica is arguably the least important of all the practica we could do. How much richer would the world be, would our worlds be, if we practiced the kindnesses we learned about rather than leave Jesus behind for the ontological argument of Anselm, the self-flagellation of Augustine, and the rational breakdown of Aquinas? Maybe if we did what Jesus had said for us to do, we would not need arguments that God exists, because we would feel his presence in our heart, and we would see God's miracles all around us, and even in a ball rolling down a slope.